Hello everyone, I am Bhagwan Malik. I am a neuroscientist. Basically, I study how neurons communicate with each other through a functional contact that we call a synapse. Or synapse can happen between neuron to neuron and neuron to muscle. Basically, I study neuron to muscle communication. So I use Drosophila, the fruit fly, as a model system to understand this basic fundamental process of synaptic communication. So and Drosophila is amazing because you can easily do genetics. You can combine genetics, electrophysiology, and behavior that will actually address your question. So what I do actually, basically, as I mentioned, I study at the neuromuscular junction, and neuromuscular junction is amazing system. Basically, there are a lot of process happens at the neuromuscular junction. You have the presynaptic compartment, the presynapse, the motor neuron terminal, and you have the postsynapse that in our case it's called a muscle. So what happens is when the action potential arises at the presynaptic nerve terminal, there is fusion of the synaptic vesicle which contains neurotransmitter, and the synaptic vesicle basically fuse at the terminals, and after that these contents are released and sensed by the postsynaptic compartment where you have the receptor called glutamate receptor, and now you have the downstream process that happens during the process. Basically, a lot of the behavioral output that you are finding is because of this kind of common mode of communication. As I mentioned, I study neuroscience. But I study a part of the neuroscience called as homeostatic synaptic plasticity. Basically, what is that? I just want to introduce very briefly. So, what is homeostasis? So, when there is any kind of perturbation or any kind of dysfunction that happens in the system tries to maintain its activity, and that we call as homeostasis. And there are certain pathways, there are certain signaling components that mediate this process, that basically we studied. Similar kind of process that happens in neuron we called as homeostatic synaptic plasticity in the neuron. So what is that? So when you have the loss of this receptor in the postsynaptic compartment called as glutamate receptor, so when you have the loss of this glutamate receptor, the postsynaptic compartment send a signal to the presynapse. That signal we call as a retrograde signal, and because of this signal, you have the increase in neurotransmitter release from the presynaptic compartment to the and that's why you have maintenance of really like the activity that we call as homeostasis. And I studied this kind of homeostatic synaptic plasticity in the context of disease biology. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.